Hey, in this series we travel around the world and speak about Vtubers. If being more direct, we speak about the most famous Vtubers from each country. And today we'll go on a world tour and visit 5 countries once again. You can see them on the map, plus I left timestamps if you're here for just one of them. So I'll be very grateful if you watch the whole thing. My channel is quite new and it will be very helpful. Okay, no more yapping from me, let's begin our journey and visit the first country, starting with Brazil. As I got from the comments section, Vtubers are relatively new to Brazil, so I was honestly surprised when the first thing that I found was a neobaka. Not a Vtuber, but the whole agency, which is not that big with only 4 Vtubers, but still, meeting a team was a nice beginning. Their biggest member is Dantewill, but their second biggest Vtuber, Toshiruz, might be more famous in some way. You see, they had some interesting stories going on somewhere around a year ago. Toshiruz was number 1 in neobaka, but his subs have slowed down greatly because 6 months ago he started streaming on a different channel, keeping his new one for lives and the old one for videos and shorts. That's a very odd thing to happen, but it looks funny because without knowing them closer, it feels like Dante and Toshiruz are always competing with each other. Their backstories only made those thoughts stronger because it is said that Toshiruz has arachnophobia, and sometimes Dante is a spider. To explain that, let's finally take a closer look at him. Dante is a male VTuber with 850k followers on YouTube, and here is a twist. After seeing his model, he flashed me with this once I opened his channel. It made me wonder, but after hearing his voice and reading wiki, I can say yes. Dante is a male VTuber, with pretty interesting lore. He is a hybrid of a bat and spider, and when he is in his first form, he looks like this. And here is him in a spider form. You can see the difference. So everything makes sense, right? As for his content, Dante, as well as other neobaka members, streams in Portuguese and has all possible kinds of content. He watches animations, plays games, makes shorts and also just makes videos on various topics. That's quite productive, but Dante is way ahead of many VTubers in one more thing. Most day VTubers have one debut, then maybe one re-debut and a few outfits, but Dante has a dozen of them. Debuts, re-debuts, outfits, for him it's just another type of content. That's impressive. Dante appeared to be a very interesting person, but I need to say at least something about other VTubers, so if you have something to add about Dante, you can do that in the comments. Meanwhile, let's speak about Toshiruz. This time, no crazy stories about his model. It looks cool, reminds me of someone like Yuji, and seems like they really have similar vibes. Plus he cosplayed Sukuna for one of his Halloween events, so this resemblance is not a coincidence. Toshiruz has been in VTubing since 2020 and he had quite an interesting journey, starting on Twitch, then debuting a few times and joining neobaka. By the way, if I got it right, both Toshiruz and other neobaka VTubers are independent now, since the agency changed the concept. As for Toshiruz, like Dante, he has a very diverse content, but what's different about him is that most of his lives he spends together with other VTubers, playing some co-op games. And in addition to all kinds of content he already has, Toshiruz also posts videos with his bike, which really matches his personality, but it's such an unexpected content for a VTuber, honestly. But it's great since he is sharing his passions with people, and his audience seems to like it a lot. It's actually one of the things that makes Brazilian VTubers different, since their most famous talents are male, and with a big difference in popularity, at least looking at the subscriber count. Eeiris, for example, has almost 300k, and she mostly makes content pretty close to Dante, with some animations, indie games and other stuff, but with her own charm. I also wanted to talk about Maylin here, but unfortunately she graduated, so I'll add that those 4 VTubers were not the only members of neobaka. There were 2 more generations whom I missed, the biggest of which was probably Karim. His vibes are closer to Toshiruz, and well, they even often stream together, so it makes sense. Apart from neobaka, I'd love to mention Reis and Zeland. Both have their own audience and different personalities. Reis seems to focus more on solo content, while Jesse has many collab streams, including such with Dante and Eeiris. We need to keep going because I have a flight to the next country soon, but before that I can't avoid mentioning 2 more VTubers. The first one is smaller, but I love Kinoko's design, model and overall the fairy vibe of her channel. It all looks very cozy. Next we have Nanoless. She's not very active in streaming lately, but her model design is one of my favorites of all time. And it's not a big surprise since she's a very famous model designer. She was behind some designs for Morical IP and Iron Mouse, so at least in some way you've seen the works of her creation. If we speak about the worldwide popularity, you can consider Nanoless to be the most famous VTuber from Brazil. Now let's move to the next country. Germany was supposed to represent Europe in today's video, but before we go there, we have to make a stop in UK, since some people demanded one specific VTuber from this country. The first thing I'd like to say here is that Swarm title really matches you guys. So now let's speak about the neurosama. She is definitely the most famous VTuber from UK and as well one of the most unique VTubers in general. For those who don't know, neurosama is a creation of Vidal. We'll speak about him later, but what I mean here is that she is not a human, but a software-based VTuber. I don't want to call her an AI VTuber because it may sound pretty bad, and honestly sometimes in past I even had doubts if she is an AI at all. Her interactions with other streamers are really funny. It doesn't really feel like something made by AI because the quality here and the whole level of entertainment is on a very high level. Neurosama is definitely a phenomenon that that so far nobody managed to replicate. I'll talk about it someday since I want to do a better research and make a separate video about her. But I believe that a big part of her success is Vidal, not just for the reason of creating her, but also because he's a VTuber himself in some way, and I saw many memes and funny moments with him as well. And it's great because rather than being just the creator, he's a part of the community. I honestly love his personality, how he dodges Neuro's freaky answers, as well as some other VTubers being freaky around him. And the fact that he's a turtle also funny in some way. By the way, tell me who that evil person is who did that. Why on every website Vidal has a femboy listed as one of his nicknames? It could be Evil Neuro, the alter ego of neurosama, who is a significant part of the Vidal's channel. Sometimes she creates covers or streams together with neurosama. As far as I know, both Vidal and fans really enjoy her covers. And overall, Vidal is trying to bring something new all the time. And it pays off, since right now Vidal's channel has 857k on Twitch, and it's only growing. In addition to that, Neuro and Vidal were nominated and received numerous awards at the VTuber Awards show, and managed to set some high scores on Twitch when it comes to hype train. So, while neurosama is definitely the most unique VTuber, other British VTubers are also special in their own ways. So, let's talk about them. First, I want to speak about Rin Penrose. I really love the design, and it matches the UK VTubers so well. They are a self-proclaimed prince and honestly deserve it, since they have 871k on YouTube. It's a very good number, but I'm honestly not that sure how widely Rin is known, since the main views on their channel come from shorts, or at least they were, since now Rin is focused on streaming. I've checked a few lives and I really enjoyed them. A cozy, funny, chill and silly experience. The description of the channel really matches the vibe. And since we just discussed the prince, let's speak about the knight. We are talking about Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame, with a very serious personality and a name hard to remember right. Liz is the leader of Hololive Justice, and probably the only one more serious and rational member of this generation. Well, at least it's a very general view on her personality, because once I opened her channel and I was watching this, a very unexpected activity for a leader I'd say, but at least it's not something like Laplus did. Liz has been in Hololive for more than a year, and already has some good results. She gained 572k on YouTube, being the biggest in Justice. Aurora is really close to her, but even though Liz doesn't stream that much, she always manages to be just a little bit ahead of Aurora. This year was also enough for Liz to find a wife in the face of Narissa Ravencroft, so it probably explains why she is not that productive when it comes to streaming. But that's okay, we don't judge her, especially since she is famous for her voice. It's such a pleasure to listen to her on streams, and I bet people really enjoy her performances at concerts. Now let's step aside from royalties and take a look at other sides of UK VTubers. Starting with Fallen Shadow, or rather Shondo, a shy yandere girl who lives alone in a forest cabin. Maybe at some point it was like that, since she has many ASMR videos on her YouTube, but I guess something had changed. She can be cute and probably she still has this side of her, but that's not quite what she is famous for. What I love about Shondo is that she is a VTuber with personality. She can joke in a very dangerous ways, watches some crazy stuff, but at the same time you can see a real person behind it, not just an online entertainer. She shares her thoughts on some topics, can answer the questions in the honest and engaged way, and overall I assume it's quite fun to be a part of her community. And as always, at the end, a VTuber of my choice. Leimu, a very cozy ferret VTuber. And while I say she is cozy, I don't mean it, you know, calm and peaceful way, because she is full of energy and can be in different moods and so on, but that's just my favorite type of VTuber, who uses her character to be herself and enjoys the things she loves. If you search for her debut on YouTube, you'll find the video where she plays interactive Sonic with her viewers. So her streams are definitely fun and creative, and I checked her Twitch a few days ago. She was half asleep, talking, with dubstep playing at the background. A nice combination, a nice experience, and I also really love the design of her model. So I guess I'll speak about her in one of the future videos, and for now, let's continue our journey to the next country, with some amazing and quite special VTubers. I have a really hard time choosing whom to start with. If we speak about the international popularity, the choice is obvious, but let's try something different this time, and first, discuss the most famous local VTuber. Jinja is one of the first German-speaking VTubers, with 276k on her YouTube. It might not sound that impressive, but take into account that she is only using German on her channel. So she is very popular and has a consistent and dedicated audience. Plus, if you go to the conventions or other events in Germany, you can easily find many arts with her character. A very random example, but I find it cool and interesting. Jinja became a VTuber almost 6 years ago, but far before that she was making musical covers, with her first musical cover being posted almost 10 years ago. She has dozens of them, both on her main channel and a separate one where you can find some of her older works. Her covers are really popular, and they are one of of the reasons why you may know her even if you don't speak German. As for her other activities, she posts shorts and other videos on YouTube, but mainly she streams on Twitch. And while her main category is just chatting, she constantly plays games on streams, all kind of them, and watching her was a very pleasant experience. I could say many more good things here, but Wiki says it might be dangerous. At the end, I let the jinja also made her influence on the whole popularization of VTubers in Germany, both being an inspiration for others and even making some tutorials that could be helpful to some people. And if you were ever thinking of studying German, here is an inspiration for you, so you could learn the language and watch her streams. Now, let's move to the next VTuber. You already know that it's gonna be Shylily, a very famous orca VTuber with 1.5 million followers on Twitch, and she probably made one of the most famous and recognizable sounds produced by VTubers. Yes, I guess I just confessed how I discovered Shylily myself, but there are many other reasons to love her. You already know the most famous one, and you've seen all of those clips or just the main videos on her YouTube channel, even if you don't watch her regularly. This side of her goes far beyond her main audience, but I believe it's not the only reason why people watch her. She can be funny, which is obvious, she also invests a lot of time in streaming, and her lives are very diverse. She can just talk, watch some videos and play games, and all within one 5-6 hour stream. She goes live almost daily, so no matter what you love about her, you can get a new dose of content every day. And let's be honest, her model design and all the variations of it are very beautiful. I don't even mean the most obvious part, I'm just speaking about her design here. Her model is very expressive, as well as Shylily herself, and you can see this level of quality everywhere. Just take a look at the animations on her main channel. She also got the best Just Chatting VTuber award back in 2023, so I guess people really love listening to her saying womp womp. Or, you know, maybe you have some other reasons. At the end, one small fact that surprised me. I always thought that Shylily was an orca, but actually she is half cat. So it appears that we have at least 2 VTubers with fishtails and cat ears. Up next we have one of my favorite VTubers of all time, Cecilia Immergreen. Apparently she's an automaton, but for some reason she has a very German vibe about her, especially when she spends time with Chiara. So I just feel like including her in this part of the video. There are many reasons why I love her, and I shared many of them in my previous video, but the fact that she is green is already enough. I just love green VTubers. She has 457k on her YouTube, and as for her content, Cecilia is a very creative VTuber, so you can find many interesting things on her channel. Mainly she is a gamer, especially when it comes to Souls likes, but she also has many just chatting streams, sometimes alone, sometimes together with Gigi, and the same goes for karaoke streams. It might be hard to describe them, but she always have a very creative approach, and you never know what to expect, so they always feel very fun to watch. Overall, Cecilia is a very cozy, chill, and of course a bit freaky VTuber with one of the best and supportive communities, at least when it comes to Cecilia. There are many more VTubers from Germany, and although I can't speak about all of them, I still want to cover at least 2 more. First of all, it's Nanoless. You could have seen her on TikTok, Shorts, or just some of her videos on YouTube. She mainly has content in English, but often uses German for memes and other things. I'm not sure, but I guess for those reasons, she is more famous in Europe. But although she streams in English, she is more famous in Germany, and it goes beyond her VTubing career. She is a professional voice actress in Germany, and you can hear her voice in many anime series, of course if you watch them in German language. So I really recommend you to take a look at her channel or watch her streams on Twitch. And before we move to the next country, one last recommendation would be Clash. She is a Red Oni girl, an artist and also a singer, all of which you can find on her YouTube. As for her streams, she has a Twitch where she plays all kinds of games, and all of them get some decent views, no matter what she does, so her audience really enjoys them. I also love her model, and a fun fact here would be that her new design was created by Nanoless, whom I already mentioned in Brazil. For our next stop we need to travel for a long distance, but it should be interesting since in New Zealand something spooky is going on with VTubers. Here we will meet 2 VTubers and both of them have something in common. The biggest and most popular one is Lena Lazar, and so far, and maybe even for the whole series, it's the first country with the biggest talent being a horror VTuber. You may think that she just has such a model and that's all, but not really. Here is her streaming schedule: 3 times horror stream, 1 time cooking. May sound like a good rest time after all those horrors, but in reality even a cooking stream may be scary. Jokes aside though, her cooking streams are really nice, and she often invites someone for collabs to make cooking time even more interesting. She is mainly active on Twitch, where she has 241k followers. You can find all of her streams there, but also on her YouTube channel or other YouTube channels you can find every other type of content. She made some changes very recently, like a few weeks ago, and now she posts her content content on separate channels, one for horror games and another one for cooking. And before you can decide what you prefer, let me tell you more about her. First of all, apart from streaming and cooking, Layla is a talented 3D artist. This way she started her online activity and she created her first 3D model herself. Nowadays she streams with her 2D model, which has really nice animations and matches the games on her streams. I don't think it will scare many people, but horror games are not the only creepy scenes that you can meet on her streams. Her model has a true 4 mod in which it gets a bit bloody. A nice touch and a creative decision. It's actually a very good case of horror-themed VTuber where everything revolves around this topic. So I guess we'll speak about her once again in a few weeks, since I'm thinking of making a spooky VTuber special for Halloween. So don't hesitate to recommend VTubers that match this topic in the comments. But for now, we are still in New Zealand, so let's get to know one more VTuber. Nanoless, or just Crony, is a male zombie VTuber. And here I have a question to everyone who knows about New Zealand more than me. How did you end up with 2 VTubers being... I can't say that Crony is creepy, although he is a zombie. His model is more on a cute side, but still, a zombie and a horror VTuber, it should be just a coincidence, but I don't know, maybe there is some reason for it. As for Crony, he debuted last year and right now he has 124k on his YouTube, where he has his videos and shorts mainly. He streams on YouTube as well, sometimes, but if you want to watch him live, it's better to check his Twitch. He is more active there. Crony is a gaming streamer and quite often collabs with other VTubers. Here are some more of his interests, so you could get to know him better. And by the way, he can speak Indonesian as well. And for us, now is the time to move to the next country. We've already traveled almost around the whole world, so let's find a place to rest and move to the Philippines. There are many things you can do here with beautiful seasides, forests, and you can even go hiking. Just be careful not to meet some wild creatures. No time for rest though, since the Philippines is very rich for VTubers. We will start with the most famous and one of my favorite VTubers from this country, and as you already saw, it is demenishki. She has 372k on her YouTube and pretty same numbers on Twitch, and her main focus is on 2 types of content, gaming and professional TikTok scrolling. You can find a lot of highlights of this activity on her YouTube channel, and she also posts quite many shorts. But I honestly think that the reason why she is popular is not her content but rather her personality. You can see her in many different moods, and she can be in more or less peaceful mode, but mostly she is very hyperactive, especially when she streams with someone. And both the design of her model and the technical side of it really suits her personality. I like the idea itself, but the fact that it's a very expressive model and Demo makes videos with reactions, let's call it this way, it just works so nicely together. It might not be the content for everyone since TikTok can be quite brain damaging, but if you watch it on Demo's stream, you may just get a boost of good mood or receive a double damage to your brain. It's a bit of a gamble. I wonder how many comments I'll get from people asking where Aphelion is, but no, she is not here. However, I can give you a hint where to look for her. Now let's move to the next VTuber. Kei-chan, a Cosmic Fox VTuber with a very bright and colorful model, which matches her personality. She has almost 400k on her YouTube, and apart from streaming, she is famous for her musical covers. She mainly speaks English and Filipino, but she studied many other languages, so quite often you can hear them in her covers. Kei-chan produced some original songs as well, and had a song collab with Kobo not so long ago. On her regular streams, she also often plays with other VTubers, and recently played together with Holostars, including Jurard. And yes, as far as I can tell, Jurard T. Rexford is also from Philippines, and that means that we already have Deme with cat ears, Space Fox, and a dinosaur, the last one of his kind from Philippines. His designs, personality and content really match his nickname, and I'm honestly surprised that he is less famous than I expected, but I guess it's a topic for a separate video about Holostars in general. Jurard has 164k on his YouTube, and in addition to content that you already expect to see on his channel, he has some interesting twists. I will leave some of them for you to explore, but did you expect Rexford to have art streams? I didn't, but he got them, and I must say that I just love his face when he's painting. Just look at it. And I can't avoid mentioning that he has impressive voice acting skills, so it can be both fun and pleasant to watch his streams. Finally, 2 VTubers of my choice. Pen, a Filipino-bred VTuber with 111k on her YouTube. Filipino VTubers so far really impressed me with how friendly their community is, because all of you VTubers collab with each other even though they stream in English. Pen had a few collabs with Kei-chan, one of which was IRL cooking stream, and the second was a cooking stream as well, kind of. All those interactions are giving me some inspiration to make a separate video about Filipino VTubers in the future. But let's get back to Pen. Her design is charming and cute, and I love the braid hairpins. The whole concept of a braid VTuber and the cozy vibe of her channel. And yes, her musical covers are also very beautiful. The last one for today is Yuvu, a vampire octopus VTuber. Somehow, I'm no longer surprised by those combinations. Sea creature VTubers are all special, and in Philippines, things are going even more wild. She has 87k on her YouTube and the same number on Twitch. Yuvu made some ASMR videos, musical covers, and also made some changes and new outfits for her model. As for today, she mainly streams on Twitch with gaming and just chatting content, where she can be live for a really long time, up to 10 hours. Today, we've covered many very unique VTubers, and I really love seeing some small and not so differences in all of those countries. It helps to learn something new or just interesting, so we will continue our journey in a few weeks. I will read all of your comments and choose the next destination, and till that time, you can watch other videos on the channel, or watch the part 1 if you missed it. Thank you for watching, and see you!